Sunday's here, NFL Takeover is real. From the first snap to the final whistle we feel. Packers in the mix, Chiefs on the rise. Patriots grinding, Eagles soaring high. Fantasy points stack, best place, no joke. Monday Night Football, that's where we provoke. Action-packed, every hit, every call. The boys with the heat, we cover it all. From the college fields to the Super Bowl dreams, we narrate the action, we the football kings. Coast to coast, every yard, every throw, we bring the fire, it's time to let it glow. Are you ready for some football? Coast to coast, from the college game to the NFL, we do the most. Monday nights, the boys bringing all the heat. We the squad on the mic, ain't no one can compete. Touchdowns, big plays, lights up in the sky. Huddle up, it's game time, we ready to fly. From the cop to the clock hit zero, we the voices of the game, the real heroes. Boys with the heat, we stay on the grind. Football's in our blood, it's all in our mind. From the cop to the clock hit zero, we the voices of the game, the real heroes. Boys with the heat, we stay on the grind. Football's in our blood, it's all in our mind. From the college fields to the Super Bowl dreams. We narrate the action, we the football kings. From the college fields to the Super Bowl dreams, we narrate the action, we the football kings. Coast to coast, every yard, every throw, we bring the fire, it's time to let it glow. Are you ready for some football? Coast to coast, from the college game to the NFL, we do the most. Monday nights, the boys bringing all the heat. We the squad on the mic, ain't no one can compete. Touchdowns, big plays, lights up in the sky. Huddle up, it's game time, we ready to fly. From kickoff to the clock hit zero, we the voices of the game, the real heroes. Boys with the heat, we stay on the grind. Football's in our blood, it's all in our mind.
Always with the bangers.
Always the bangers.
Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah, he's tired.
Oh, Jesus. By this time of the day, by this time of the week, I've done so much nothing.
Yeah. Well,
I'm filled with nothing.
Filled with exhaustion.
I need a Sunday reset. That's what I need. I need a Sunday reset. Part one, we briefly touched on. We didn't briefly touch. We smashed out fantasy. Super exciting. Upcoming matchups. Yada yada yada. Part two. Welcome to the slowest 5 minutes in sports.
Hello.
And we're gonna start. I've got the game list here. Patrick, you've got our clock.
yeah, I've got to get her back on here, but I do have it somewhere.
Awesome. So while he's getting it on there, I'm going to explain it to the listeners, everything that's going on. Actually, before all of that, I have a fact for you, our fact of the day.
Okay.
It takes 4 hours to read all of the names that passed the September 11th terrorist attack. It takes 4 hours to read all the names that died that day.
It's a lot of names.
Here on this show and many other places around America, and even around the world, we never forget. So wanted to start the show off with that. A small reminder. I was watching videos all day today, actually, of the after. I like to focus on what happened after. What happened was very sad, and that's why the fact was given to you about what happened.
Yeah.
But the after, how we came together, some of the sporting events, that game in Boston or in New York, wherever it was.
I think it was New York.
Yeah. The game, the Boston bombing, that was the game I'm thinking of. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. But yes, that game in New York where George Bush, did you ever see that documentary about that?
Yeah.
The first pitch? Crazy. And oh, W. I don't give up. Take the shot if you got it. Baby, I'm going out and throwing that.
Do you remember what you were doing that day?
America. Yeah, I do actually. I was in 8th grade. I was in Mrs. Miller's English class. I was 2 rows from the door. I was in the front seat, not because I was an avid learner, because I was a class clown.
So
I still remember. I can close my eyes. I can tell you everything that was happening.
I was getting over a cold, and I was watching TV, and then I thought it was a commercial, and then it just never went away. And I'm like, what is happening? and then I
Yeah.
tried to change the channel, and it was literally on
Everywhere.
every channel whatsoever, and it was just like, what
Yeah.
just happened?
I'll never forget when the second plane hit. I saw it. I swear to God, I saw it hit.
Yeah.
I saw the explosion, and I just remember looking at the TV and going, "Holy fuck!" And like everyone in the classroom had stopped what they were doing and went back to the TV again. That day, that moment is when I chose that I was going to join the Army. That was, to this day, we should get my old recruiter on here. That would be funny. Sergeant Olson. I love that guy. He did me well. He did me very well. Even down in basic, hearing everybody's story about how they got effed, quote unquote effed. They just weren't smart enough to ask the right questions, but they got effed. Not my guy. My guy was great. But anyways, yeah,
It is what it is.
They got theirs. I'm gonna get mine. And that's I from that moment on, bro. I sent an email to the Navy
Yeah.
at 16. They sent me an email back thanking me for like my, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm curious, thanking me for my curiosity or whatever, but to reach out to a recruiter when I turned 18. So I sent the same email to
They just
the
need a parent's
Army.
waiver.
The Army put me in the Future Soldier program. I didn't even need my parents' waiver for the Future Soldier
Yeah,
program.
you do a year or something like that, and then right after you
Yeah.
graduate,
Yeah,
you're
so
gone.
I was going to join the National Guard, but then my brother-in-law was joining the Army. So yeah, my recruiter was Sergeant Buttersworth. I fucking love that guy. And then I met Sergeant Olson. So in that moment, I switched and I went from National Guard to active Army. Rocked that out. Yeah, and I had a quick ship bonus. I left at 17. My mom did end up signing the waiver of content because I sat her down. I told Ma, I said, Ma, I'm going no matter what. I said, I'm either going at 18 or I'm going now. I said, this is who I am. This is what I was meant to do. This is who I was meant to be.
Yeah, my story
you
was a
know.
little funnier than that.
Yeah.
My mom
Yeah.
said that because I sucked at high school, and I was working at the grocery store for 6 months after I graduated, and she's son. Do you want to be pushing carts the rest of your life, or do you want to do something meaningful? You need to go make an adult decision. And
Yeah.
then 24 hours later, my sister had just come home for Thanksgiving because she had surprised my mom that she signed up and she was home
Yeah.
for Thanksgiving. And so she sent me to her recruiter. We come back for Thanksgiving dinner. I was like, hey, Mom, I'm leaving in January. She's like, that's not what I meant. I'm like,
My mom looked at me and asked me to have a small heart murmur. Yeah, just a small one, so I wouldn't be able
I
to
was
go.
like, I just let
No
my
son
daughter.
of mine is joining the military
Listen.
during a Bush administration.
She was like, I just lost my daughter to the military. Now I got to get my son. No, I'll hide you. I was like, Ma, you're going to go to jail.
We laugh about it, but shout out parents. It's a tough job. Yeah, that's
it's
tough,
not
tough,
easy.
Tough. Lots of stories. One time, lots of times. Anyways, moving on to football. 9/11, never forget. It's a moment sketched in my mind. I can't tell you what I had for lunch last Friday, but I can tell you where I was sitting in 8th grade, Miss Miller's class.
Listen.
And I can tell you the exact next words that came out of my mouth, and I don't remember much after that. But
Forever ingrained right here.
I even had the principal. So I got caught. Last story, I swear to goodness. Pre-military story, last story. Me and a buddy of mine, we'll call him Mark H., we would go to Family Dollar's parking lot in between classes and smoke a cigarette. Because it wasn't school property, we were already of age at that point. Oh, we lost Patrick. No.
Not again.
Not again. But anywho, so just before Mrs. L's class, the school building and the Family Dollar were placed as such that we would get out of wood shop, head over to the parking lot right through the garage exit, smoke a cigarette, get back up into class before the bell rang. Not a big deal.
Right.
One of the teachers saw us out there smoking and laughing and joking, didn't like it, decided to tell the principal, took me and Mark H. in, and bro, he would always scream in this vein when you knew you fucked up when that fucker started showing up. I get so mad. He goes, if you were joining the army and going to die, I probably would kick you out of school right now. Just get your ass to class. Yes, sir. Yeah, it's,
Over here, just
life's
messing up on
wild, man.
purpose.
Dude, the 90s were awesome, man. Or the 90s and early 2000s. People didn't give a fuck back then.
Listen, it was a fun time though.
Oh, I loved it, dude. I loved it. I remember when the soda company came out with the like prizes under the soda caps,
Yes.
and you would open it and
Let's see what the code is, or might see if you got like a free another soda.
You would get like a free soda. So there was this like general store, and we would get like we would return a bunch of cans. It would end up being like $10, right? We would just go around the city, we'd get cans, turn them in, it'd be like $10, and then we would go and buy sodas. And we were gambling, bro. Realistically, we were gambling. That's all we were doing, because we'd go outside, we'd open the caps, and all the ones it was the soda cap and 10 fucking cents, right? And you would go and hell yeah, and you'd get another one. By the time we were done, we'd have 20 bottles of soda opened off that $10, bro.
Yeah, I remember those days.
Those
were good days.
Yeah.
Come on, Patrick. What's going on with your internet?
Yeah, what's going on, baby? What's going on? It says his internet was good all day, all day. Maybe it was the clock. Did the clock screw everything up?
Too much power.
So sombering, I don't know if that's the right word right now. I'm not in the right state of mind to be going.
He's making up words.
Going out there on a.
He's using words that are not proper for the conversation.
Yeah, because I'm thinking it's supposed to be exciting, and I'm.
That's
like
not
90% sure sombering is not.
That's not
exciting.
it. No, not the environment for that word.
Some exciting news, some eye-popping news, some intriguing news to be watching. I think it's a play. I think it's a play on the Green Bay's part, but Jordan Love hasn't been ruled out for Sunday yet. Now, if Jordan Love doesn't play, I don't think that's a big deal.
But you're gonna, because all you got is Malik Willis and who?
Sean Clifford, but it's not. It's. I think
who do y'all play this week?
We were 3-7 last year before we went on a run. You know what I'm saying?
But Malik Willis is not even close to what Jordan Love can do.
Oh, hell no. No, and I'm not comfortable putting money on Green Bay or the Colts, because I have confidence in that defense. We've talked about it a little bit here and there. I really wanted Mike and Patrick in here, but that field for the Packers-Eagles game was absolutely terrible. And the Eagles took advantage of it more than...
they made the right adjustments when needed to.
Absolutely. But the terrible thing, in the first quarter alone, you had 2 red zone drives that ended up as field goals. But in that goal line plays, you had 2 touchdowns that were taken away due to field conditions.
Y'all should have definitely been up 14 within the first quarter, 2 quarters maybe, easily. Yeah.
I think it's 17-7, 17-3. That
field cost y'all 2 touchdowns easily.
And then the adjustments in the second half, Brazil was just terrible. Here's my thought process on it.
Listening.
Why the hell are we playing in Brazil? Why aren't we playing in China? If we're being honest, China's got 1 billion fucking eyeballs. If you want eyeballs,
or even Mexico.
Why aren't we playing in China or Mexico? What was this Brazil thing? It'll never make sense to me. Now,
I don't know.
The injury that happened to Jordan Love would have occurred in that scenario on any field. It wasn't a field thing. He was being wrapped up by Jalen Carter on one side and being pushed on another side by the defender. It's just, it kind of is what it is.
But the sheer fact that nobody got injured outside of Jordan Love that night was nothing short of a miracle.
It was a damn miracle.
Because even one of the refs got hurt.
Yeah. It was a joke. So now let's bounce to the Ravens Kansas City game.
Or
We're gonna do the slowest
Lamar.
5 minutes. We were going to do the slowest 5 minutes, but without the crew here, you and I, we're just going to spitball back and forth for a little bit.
Let's do
Get
it.
some content out there, brother.
I'm with
So,
it.
so what do we think about the Kansas City Baltimore game?
Clearly, the Bills are Kansas City's bitch. Because twice now in the last 7 years, they've given them a draft pick that been able to draft.
Oh yeah, we got to talk about that real quick.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh, my
you
God,
you literally
Why-
handed them
why did
Xavier Worthy
why
when
did
you
that-
needed a receiver.
like what? I'm trying to think of a scenario that Green Bay did somewhere like that, and
You're not
the
going to
only
find
thing that
one.
happens really in the NFC North is like Green Bay most of the NFC teams outside of the Bears go shopping at the Green Bay Packers thrift store.
It's just
But with this scenario, you didn't have to do that.
you could have kept it and draft, even if you didn't draft Xavier Worthy as Buffalo. You literally handed this man on a silver platter to one of the teams that's been whooping y'all's ass in the playoffs for the last 6 years.
His over-under on a touchdown at this point, I would guess to end the season is 1.4 to 1.7. Right? He's either going to be closer to 1 a game or closer to 2 a game.
And that's
Either
not
way-
terrible.
Either way,
It's not good.
You gave Patrick Mahomes a touchdown a game, right?
And
Like a
it's not
touchdown
like
to
he
2
doesn't
touchdowns a
have
game.
3 or 4 other weapons in his pocket already. You
Nope.
literally.
The last time he had a successful over the top, he won, right? Like the year they lost to Joe Burrow, and I'm a little fuzzy because this was a few years ago now, but the year they lost to Joe Burrow, was that the year after they lost Tyreek Hill?
The year before.
Oh, so that was the year before.
I think it was the year before. That was the year. That was his last year in Kansas City, I believe, because then
Yeah.
they went on to do what they did. But I just like Patrick Mahomes is.
The last time Kansas City had this type of guy, they were Super Bowl bound.
You got Rashee Rice, right?
Who's
You
a
got
dog.
Pacheco,
Yeah.
and you got Worthy.
Let's just say Rice does get a 4 or 5 game suspension.
You still got Worthy and Pacheco, and you still got Travis
now
Kelce.
Now you throw Worthy in the slot. You got
Like,
Pacheco.
come on.
I
Like,
mean, it's
and even their backup tight end, what's his name? I can't remember his name. But either way,
yeah.
Kansas City is stacked, and Buffalo literally handed them another weapon unnecessarily.
And it we'll see it again. We got to see it a little bit week 1, but we'll see again how it's handled. I'm not sure. I've got their matchup here coming up.
Kansas
Scroll
City
down.
is playing.
Let me see.
Who's that?
They are playing.
What the hell?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Who the hell are they playing? Oh, the Bengals. Okay,
It's going to be a cakewalk.
We'll see. No, I don't disagree with you at all. We'll get to that game here in a minute, especially because of the fantasy team.
But Lamar basically choked on this one hard.
Again,
Choked on
we can blame it. We can blame it week 1. And I got a couple issues with Lamar. For one, right now, bro, you're the quarterback on my fantasy team, right?
I mean, you step it up.
His points are fine, right? I think he got 20 to 26 points. That's going to be
Solid.
That's going to be
Solid.
That's going to be good. But he's not going to be in the fucking game for very long if he's not getting out of bounds, sliding, and not doing unnecessary
What is the issue
things.
with these quarterbacks? Listen, I get it. You're athletic.
Yeah.
Slide. For the love of Christ, slide.
It doesn't.
Why do you need to take these hits for? You're not a running back. You're not a receiver. Slide.
All of them this last week that were injured at some point in their career due to taking hits came into this season. No, do we think this is a preseason thing? Could this all be because there's not enough preseason to play? And
I don't know.
Fear of injury isn't allowing for the comfortability of preseason play?
But how can you justify the preseason play when you've been in the league for one? We're just going to say you've been in the league 5 to 7 years already. And that's not to include at least 3 to 4 years in college and then everything else. So you're telling me in your whole career, you're about 25 to 28 years old. You've been playing for a better part of half your life now. You like taking hits unnecessarily as a quarterback? You are literally the face of the offense. You are what drives the team down the field. And you want to take hits like you're a running back. Why?
it feels like he's trying to prove his naysayers right. Because taking these hits is going to result in an injury.
And it's going to shorten your career.
All we say is that he's injury prone and he can't win the big game. If you're injured, you're not going to make it to the big game.
And you're not going to be able to play.
Now, another question. Are the Baltimore Ravens allergic to running the fucking ball with a running back?
Like, you literally have King Henry as your backup.
He touched the ball on the first drive a handful of times and scored a fucking touchdown, and then you were you were allergic to handing the ball up, and you can't tell me it was situational because it's Derrick Henry. We've watched him for 10 plus seasons, 8 plus seasons at Tennessee. They can be down 30 and they're handing the ball off.
I don't think I've ever seen a game with him in Tennessee where, even if they are losing, where he's not at least touching the ball at least 25 to 30 times a game. At a minimum.
There was more shots of him on the sideline after the first drive than of him carrying the ball.
What's crazy to just compare Josh Jacobs and Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
They both started off slightly slow in the first half of the game, but they both because I think in the first half for Jacobs, I think he had 7 or 10 yards in the first half, and then in the second half he exploded.
Yeah, you could tell there was first half rust on the Thursday and Friday.
So again, why isn't Baltimore using the monster that he's 6'3", 250 pounds of just, even if he's getting 4 or 5 yards a carry, let him work.
So I've got a 2-part question, and that's a chain here. And the first side of it is football is an athletic sport, right? When we're watching it on TV, by the middle of the third quarter, you're expecting the 5-star athletes at this point. This is what they are: 5-star athletes, captains,
right?
For three stars on their shoulder or higher.
Got it.
To be breathing heavy.
Correct.
Not exhausted, but breathing heavy.
You've been playing for
the pictures of or shots of Henry on the sideline standing there, dude. Just
not a sweat on his head.
He's in Brazil, not sweating. Nothing, dude.
I'm again,
middle of the third quarter, bro.
This guy has been a leading rusher in the league multiple times. He's like on a losing
yards and a touchdown. 49 yards.
Make that make sense.
49 yards and a touchdown.
But you got Saquon over here having a hat trick with 100 and some odd yards because Philly's. I hear you got a slow start, but I'm gonna need you to touch this rock and push.
How do you, in good faith, look at a game and say we did well?
No,
when Derrick Henry didn't touch the ball 15 times,
at least
in a pass, screen, or run. You have Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, and then you have a handful of other weapons that you can utilize. Lively there was shot out of a cannon. I get it.
That sounds great, right? But it's still Derrick Henry.
It was Kansas City. They play against a good tight end and defense. They know how to close the middle of the field. But it's Derrick Henry. So now the other chain part of this question too. Okay, so we've discussed Baltimore Ravens running game, just effing wild, makes no sense. They're almost allergic to it. So now, who is the number 1 quarterback in the NFL?
At this point,
right now.
It has to be Patrick Mahomes, I believe.
It has to be Patrick Mahomes.
I can't think of anybody else.
Okay. So this one, we might be on a different page, but we'll see. Who's the number 1 tight end in the league?
That's a tough one. It's definitely not Travis Kelce because he's.
Let's just say it is Travis Kelce.
Okay, so let's say it's Travis Kelce.
Let's just say arguably
he's underperforming.
Hey,
I got
it.
He's back.
We'll see how long I'm back for. Apparently, all of my Wi-Fi drivers are completely out of. Somehow they're out of date. Windows 11 is being weird. It won't install the new ones, so it has the old ones. So it keeps telling me I have no internet randomly and shuts off my router and blah blah blah. Anyway, we'll see how long this one lasts.
We'll speed you up. You haven't missed much. We put the 5-minute out, and we're just spitballing NFL. We're on the Thursday-Friday game, and you're rewinding the part of the discussion.
Honestly, I didn't even. Who is playing Thursday Night Football?
No, we're talking about.
No. We're going through the games. So
the biggest thing is underutilizing Derrick Henry as far as for Baltimore.
Yep, and we had just got done talking about how the Baltimore Ravens are allergic to running the ball. Like outside of Lamar taking 6 stops,
Your
back,
quarterback
looking at
shouldn't be
one
your
guy
leading
and then
rusher.
running.
Last year he wasn't. Last year they ran the ball for 3,000 yards or something. So it doesn't even make
Yeah.
sense that they,
But I still think that I would still utilize clearly Lamar as a mobile quarterback because that's one of his
Well,
strengths.
you've got
But
the
you also
filtered
have
and run him out
a
of the option.
secret weapon right
That's
behind
what I'm
him.
saying. There was Lamar Jackson ran the ball more than 8 times, but of that, 2/3 weren't designed quarterback runs.
No.
So it's frustrating to me.
Yeah.
So now there was a 2-part question. We're at the end of this chain question here, Patrick. I would love you to jump in also.
Yeah.
The number 1 quarterback in the NFL right now,
In your opinion?
in your opinion?
Eef. After watching Kansas City,
Just not forget about week 1 or just
if you had to put a name
if
next to that number 1 spot for quarterback,
the number
who do you
1
got?
quarterback over the last 3 years, 2 years, however you
well,
want.
over the last 3 years, it's Patrick Mahomes. But
Patrick Mahomes. Okay. So now you're 100% caught up. So now who's the number 1 tight end? And we shortly discussed, and then you popped in, we were on Travis Kelce on the same scale. Do you feel that way?
Travis Kelce, and then it's like 1A, 1B, 1C. Like there's 3-4 guys.
Yeah,
Like
yes, yeah. Okay. Do you know they played in every single preseason game this year?
Both of them?
Both of them.
Together?
Together. Yeah, both of them.
But that chemistry, you can't. They've been playing. They've been doing this for what, 6 years now?
Yeah, yep. And we just discussed that the best players in the NFL in their position played every single preseason game this year. It's this week 1 rust. We've been seeing it since they cut the preseason game short. We see injuries coming into week 1, crazy injuries, to be honest with you. Unnecessary, potentially season-ending.
Yeah.
You added another game. You took away a preseason game. I mean,
that is coming from the news of Puka? Is that coming from the news of Puka possibly being out?
More than 4 games?
CMC possibly. His backup is still projected for 17 points this week. So clearly they're not planning on CMC anytime soon.
Because even with Puka, they put him on the
Puka
injury reserves for 4 games. But there's a report that came out today that it might be more than 4 games.
Yeah.
Because of the strain. So it's like, again.
No, we do on this show, we've complained at times about what are they doing in their offseason. They're human fucking beings. They're millionaires, and they're having a good fucking time. Who cares what they're doing in their offseason?
This is their off season. This is their off time. What do you want from them?
The profession they're playing should be taking care of them. It's just like going down to the bakery, the local bakery. If they've got a 75-year-old oven that doesn't have any flavor and nothing but burnt smell anymore, you're gonna get this.
You're gonna get the product you're looking at.
You should have put a little extra money into that damn oven. So we should be putting a little extra money into these damn players.
And this is the thing. When it comes to the offseason, it's not like they're just off the whole time. Right when training camp starts to roll around, like a month or so, like they're back in the gym getting in NFL shape. Like, people, calm down.
If they're not in the playoffs, they get about 90 days. If they make it all the way to the Super Bowl, they get about 30.
They get to go to Cancun for a couple weeks, and then they'll be back. And calm down.
But I don't want to believe that Saquon is going to be that Saquon all year long.
But there's a possibility.
Is it possible? Is it because if I'm a defensive coordinator, if I'm the Falcons right now, I'm going. If it wasn't for Saquon, the Eagles lose by 13. So let's stop Saquon and deal with what we have to deal with in the second half, make an adjustment.
But we can agree that I think that,
because
this is the thing, I think Saquon is one in a better place by a mile than he was in New York. You know what I'm saying? The line itself, the weapons, the quarterback play, everything is just right. The winning mentality is there versus in New York, it's a losing mentality. Like we can all agree that having a winning mentality in the locker room changes your mental state when it comes to playing any kind of sport. And I think Saquon's going to be a monster in Philly, I feel.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. The Packers' run defense is not a great run defense to begin with anyway. He had 109 yards on 24 carries. It's not like he freaking killed him.
No.
He didn't kill him. Hell,
No,
up
no, he
until
didn't.
that
No,
one
that's-
long run.
But
it
he was,
was like
but
at
it's
3
the
yards a carry.
production that he can
Right.
bring to
But
Philly, though.
And that's why when we started, I brought to the table, if I'm the Atlanta Falcons, I'm looking at the Philadelphia Eagles going, hey, we need to blitz Jalen, because that's Green Bay blitz. They didn't blitz the whole time, but they showed blitz, and it was a shown blitz the entire fucking game. That's all it was. You show a blitz because it's going to confuse Jalen, and then you stop Saquon.
The Falcons got beat by Justin Fields, so
They got beat by the defense. Justin Fields did about the same amount.
Wow.
I'm like, listen. Let's be honest. Let's just be honest.
Kicked like 8 field goals.
That's what I'm just saying. I'm not saying that Justin Fields didn't do what he was supposed to do as a quarterback.
17 of 23 for a $156. He only had 6 incompletions. It's not like he just was throwing the ball.
I am happy for his success. Because I treat him like I treated Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose, I don't care what team he's on. I will always root for Derrick Rose. Justin Fields didn't do Chicago dirty. Chicago did Justin Fields dirty.
Yeah.
I don't ever wish anybody who goes to a different team any hatred or anything. If they fall flat on their face, that's really on them more than it's on you as a fan.
But a win is a win. He did what he had to do to win for Pittsburgh. I really didn't see them beating Atlanta, which was.
Hey, he did the one thing that he was supposed to do. He got George Pickens the football. 6 catches for 85 yards.
Again,
where was that last year?
you're teasing. You're over here like Mr. Production over here.
He managed the game. He game managed, and he did what he was supposed to do in Pittsburgh. And at the end of the day, they got a win in the win column. And so
that's a Mike Tomlin thing.
Yeah,
he does that 50% of the time.
So listen, he ain't had a losing season yet. So let's see if that record streak starts now.
So are we did Xavier Worthy have the best performance of any rookie?
So that's something that we discussed also. We were very
how do you feel
about the Bills? How do you feel about the Bills in this situation gifting Kansas City Xavier Worthy?
I don't like it, but I don't think that he really fit that team.
No, we're not talking about the Bills taking Xavier Worthy.
Why did they trade
the pick to Kansas City that gifted Kansas City Xavier Worthy?
Because I'm like, I can care less if Bills.
You don't know who they're going to take, though.
I'm not trading shit to Kansas City.
Why are you trading to Kansas City? They have.
Why trade to a rival? Is more. Yeah, I get what you guys are saying.
Like, why would you trade to them? Out of all the 31 teams you could have traded to, you traded to the one team that's whooping your ass.
It would be like the Packers and Bills trading picks.
And let's be honest. Kansas City seems to be drafting pretty fucking well. So a draft pick seems to be pretty serious when it comes to my rival.
It might actually come down to that Kansas City is better at draft. Their war room is better than everybody else's war room. And that's just why they are what they are.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Players.
And
why are you trading to them, motherfuckers?
If their war room is that great, cool. Not knocking that. I'm not giving you any type of ammunition to make your team any better.
Here, take my bullets because I don't fucking need them because I can't do a damn thing.
When you're calling me, hey, I know that, listen, I heard you want to trade. I want to trade with you. Okay, let's trade.
Nah, I would have hung up on his ass immediately.
You don't even take that phone call. You don't take that phone call.
Anybody but Kansas City. Anybody.
Do you think that Kansas City reached out to them or they reached out to Kansas City?
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know, but it sounds stupid either way.
Either way, it's dumb. Yeah.
Well, either way,
you called them for a trader. They called you. You still picked up the phone, and they were on the other side, and you allowed this to happen.
It's the Buffalo Bills. Everything inside of me wants it to be that Kansas City called them, but it's Buffalo. They don't make it to the Super Bowl for reasons. And
this is one of them.
Like one of those fucking reasons.
You can add this to the tally of reasons.
You just add this to the tally that this is a Buffalo Bill disaster. But they'll have those sweet statues in the front of their stadium.
Question for you guys, and I know a lot of this has to do with his contract and stuff. And I posted it earlier that Jamar Chase shut down a $140 million contract, $90 million guaranteed. So is Cincinnati the most overrated football team after week 1? Did we learn who they really are? That offensive line is terrible.
I think
It's been terrible for years.
Joe Burrow's been the only quarterback to beat Patrick Mahomes in Mahomes mode. And I think when that happened,
But he had Mixon. They had a healthy
oh no, I don't disagree with
defense.
you at all. I don't disagree with you at all. But I believe that is the foundation of this Cincinnati talk that we hear nowadays. They've done nothing to manage things. I believe we talked about this a little bit in part 1. Why keep T. Higgins, Patrick? It makes
there was no reason for it. He was on the chopping block, and then you didn't. I'm sure a team reached out and said, "Hey, a 3rd round pick or a 4th round pick." To be honest, something's better than nothing. He clearly didn't
super greedy.
He wanted a trade. He wanted out, and then now Chase had to get paid, and now Chase is over there moping around, kicking grass on the field.
You got shit.
Yeah.
You got nothing to throw at.
And I'm looking at a situation where my number 1 draft pick might be in a position where the owner and the team want his production to reflect a more reasonable contract.
That's a bad situation to be in.
He's going from 14 targets, 15 targets to 7 or 8 targets a game. And there's nothing they can even do about it because the game plan doesn't call for it. While the whole outside world is screaming, why aren't you building a game plan around Jamar Chase?
Yeah.
He had 2 targets game 1. You can't tell me that somebody wasn't pissed off at him.
Wow. Did that have to do with the fact that he turned that? I don't know when that leaked or when that came out, or maybe that was before the game and they were trying to get this done, but it's a bad look either way.
How do you, because something else we brought up, Cincinnati's Super Bowl window is gone.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
It wasn't even open. It was just like
it was
poorly built, so a small breeze came through. More or
it
less.
Was like it pouring down rain outside, and you have an umbrella that somebody took a shotgun and just went boof, and there's rain dripping down everywhere. It's not protecting you.
They were so stricken of success that once they had a small chunk of it, they then ran their literal show into the ground. They played Burrow in many situations where they shouldn't. They were putting money on the outside, not on the inside. They should. The T. Higgins thing, that money could have went to offensive line pieces. It just doesn't make sense to me. And the product now is thus.
Oh yes, exactly. And the issue with the Cincinnati is it's been a poorly ran organization ever since freaking Chad Johnson was there.
Yeah.
Yes, man, that's saying a lot.
Yeah. So we're talking about Cincinnati, their week 1 game against the Patriots. So the Patriots defense is going to be good. They're offensively, we'll have questions.
I took the running back on a whim, Ramondre Stevenson, and I'm happy that he is the workhorse that he is. He is like an old Eddie Lacy, but a lot healthier and a lot smarter.
You missed it yesterday, but it's one of the exact reasons I've got Tony Pollard in the flex now.
Tony Pollard, yeah, exactly.
Tennessee.
I picked up Tony Pollard in my other draft in the auction for
smart pick,
$2. And somebody said, "Why would you get Tony Pollard?
$2?
$2 for Tony Pollard." And they were like, my only person that thought that it was a steal was my brother-in-law. He was like, he looked at me while we were doing the draft. He goes, "Did you just snag Tony Pollard for $2?" I'm like, I sure did.
You'd be like, realize if he was still in Dallas, he'd be the starter, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And even splitting touches with Spears.
Nixon. Is it with Spears? Yeah.
Yeah.
Tennessee, not Houston, my bad.
He's still giving me 15, 18 points a game, which as a running back, I am perfectly okay with that.
So is it too early to change the wheels on New England obviously not winning a football game, but I think
New England's not the worst football team.
No, I think they win themselves out of a top 5 pick.
In Washington is going to be a little bit better. Not as good as we thought.
I think the worst team is going to be between the Giants and the Panthers because
I think a
dogfight.
The Giants are going to get wins because they play Dallas twice, and they'll probably win.
You think so?
It's the NFC East. It's weird. I don't want to say that they'll end up beating the Eagles, but they might beat the Eagles, bro.
The Panthers ain't winning shit.
Yeah, and I don't. It's why I think the Panthers are going to be the worst team, is because I don't see a situation like that with the Panthers. It's the NFL; it could happen, but I don't see it. Patrick, in the NFC East, this shit happens all the time.
Yeah, all the time. Here's a question for you. I saw PR brought it up in the team chat, the group chat there. He brought it up about Pat McAfee bringing it up, the relegate the Carolina Panthers.
Bro.
But how much of that is real? How much of that is real?
I hope it's all real.
I don't listen. Either move them to
can.
another city or do something, because you get 2 tickets for $2, and then you can't even fill up a goddamn stadium.
Well,
you're playing in front of 150 people.
If you're a Carolina Panthers fan watching what CJ Stroud is doing, how can you physically go watch your football team?
Yeah,
and I don't mean this in a negative way, bro, but you're a Bears fan. Explain to me how this would be possible.
It can't.
Because the Bears have
There's
never
no
done
way
anything like this. The Bears have tried. They've been terrible, but
and
they've been trying.
The Lions were worse than this,
and they still sell out,
and they still sold out. So
the Saints at one point weren't shit.
The Aints. I remember the Aints.
Even the Cleveland Browns.
The old paper bags.
Carolina was an expansion team, correct?
Yes, they are.
Yeah, so you can expand them motherfuckers right out that city.
Where? All right. Let's all spitball right now. Where would Carolina go if they were to sell?
Fuck, they go to South Dakota and sell out.
They would just no. You guys play in a box, and you guys play indoors.
Nobody said move them to San Antonio.
Oh, they would move the Jackrabbit so fucking fast. They'd be like
the tax-free. Listen, I'm telling you, South Dakota. We got to make a huge push for.
Put them in Oklahoma. Put them in Oklahoma.
Honestly, I think Texas would get another football team.
Yeah, I don't want that though. So
no, we don't want that, but I think that's where it would happen.
Wait, Florida has 3, don't they?
Yeah.
Florida has 2.
New York technically has 3.
Yeah.
Technically, even though 2 of them play in Rutherford, New Jersey. But that's neither here nor there.
California top coast. They would just top fucking coast.
They got 2 because they lost Oakland, so they only got the Rams and the Chargers. And San Francisco, they got 3. They got 3.
If I could give Salt Lake City, give Utah a football team.
Vegas only has 1.
1.
Yep.
Let's send them to Vegas.
That would be a little too much having 2 games at the same time in Vegas.
Nah. I would try to pick like a Midwest state.
In New York, you can go from block to block, and it's a whole new universe, right?
You need to have a market because they're in Charlotte.
Vegas, it's like every 12 steps you walk into a new universe. You know what I'm saying?
You need to have at least probably 2.5, 3 million people. So that's why Milwaukee would be out. That's why Chicago technically could have another football team. They got 2 baseball teams. But Chicago, the Bears would never want to compete market-wise with anybody. They're too big of a name. They're a brand. They're one of the blue bloods. There's no way they would compete with somebody else. But
Oklahoma,
South Dakota.
Bring back to St. Louis.
Or you could do that. You could put them back in St. Louis.
Kansas City Chiefs are moving to St. Louis.
No, they're not.
I was going to say they're going to relegate the Chiefs there because they can't pay their bills.
No, the Chiefs are moving to St. Louis. Yeah,
that still is crazy to me. That's real. That the city's $2.5 or $200 million in debt, and they don't want to pay a penny for the stadium.
I wouldn't either.
No,
suck my toe.
I get it, but you're going to lose the Chiefs.
Yeah, they just don't care.
You just got to cross the bridge.
Here's the kicker.
True.
I'm only rich because I consistently spend other people's money.
Yeah,
I hear you.
Most of the billionaires, that's how it works.
Listen, go find you another city that'll build you a stadium that you want.
That's what I've been told.
I wouldn't know. I'm not rich yet.
No. But we are owners. How are Caledonia Braves doing?
Everything's going well. The owner group is hilarious.
Oh, yeah. It's fantastic. I love it.
Yeah. A lot of crybabies.
Hey, we are not
the Green Bay Imagine the Green Bay Packer owners, like way worse so far. It's been way worse.
Can we be honest? I talked about this I talked about this at work, and tell me if I'm wrong, but is the Green Bay Packers ownership program the biggest Ponzi scheme ever?
I don't know.
You own stock in the team, but you get this piece of paper, but it don't mean anything.
You're not getting paid for nothing.
You get owners meetings and
you don't get to say anything.
So how much do you get paid? How much do you get paid a month from being an owner?
Whoa.
Where's the dividends?
That's all stipulation. That's
Where's
all written.
You didn't buy enough stock.
So it's Ponzi scheme. You gave them money and you're getting absolutely nothing out of it. I don't even think it's a tax write-off.
That's it. Now I'm becoming an owner.
Now you're getting
We're
okay.
doing it.
You got to buy one.
No,
So
I'm
we need
doing it.
we
I'm
need
gonna
an
buy one.
insider. We need an insider
Yep.
on this because I need
I'm
to know
buying one
what's
now.
going down with this.
I
need
didn't
My
want
dad
to become
wanted
one
to
of
at
those
way
people,
back.
but now I'm going to get the sticker on
I
the
want
back of my car.
details. I want the details.
I'm gonna get the sticker on the back of my car and
Do
everything.
it.
Can I tell you guys a
When
little
we
story?
go to
that's
the
kinda
games,
funny?
I'm gonna be like, I'm an owner.
Don't talk to me.
Here we can make fun of Lions fans for this one. This is something that I watched a video on YouTube, but I got bored one day. The Detroit Lions sold the turf from the Silverdome when they tore it up, right? And so they sold this turf, and then they were running out of it, so they're like, we need to make more money off of this. So we got Barry Sanders' old jerseys. Let's rip them up and we'll put it in a placard and we'll tell them. Guess what? They ran out of turf before they decided to do that. So they ripped up the fucking practice field indoors, and they never knew. They got them all mixed up, and they didn't know which one was which. So they were just giving people practice fields. Technically, played on it, practiced on it,
But it's
and
not
people
the
were.
Silverdome shit.
But it's not the
that's
same.
Fucked up.
And and then people found out later after they looked at like the serial number, they tracked everything down. This is like back in the mid 2000s or whatever. But it's friggin' hilarious that like they did that, and people think they've got this crazy piece of memorabilia, and they got absolutely
It's so
nothing.
funny
It's
that
just
they
track
did that
field.
because that's what Green Bay did when Lambeau Field got all of its renovations.
Let's be honest, the Packers could literally turn around tomorrow and say, we need money for a stadium. Let's just go sell more stock, or let's go sell turf. And people will frickin' flock to it. There'd be people from Ireland, Africa, frickin' Asia. They'd be buying this stuff. It'd sell out in 24 to 48 hours. It's crazy.
It's one of my favorite things about being a Packer fan. And honestly, it's one of the coolest things in the NFL. We're one of 3 teams that you only run into a fan or somebody who hates us. That's it. And you have something to talk about no matter what.
Yeah. Either way.
I'm the guy that hates y'all.
Hey.
In my world travels, it was awesome.
When do we get to find this out
Bay.
anyway? When do the Green Bay Packers and the Bears play? Is it like the middle of the season?
Let me pull up the schedule.
Oh, it's late. It's late.
I think it's like week 10 or week 11.
Oh, damn. It is late. Yeah, you guys got basically the whole season.
So, yeah. So Jim Harbaugh.
We play y'all on
the 17th of November. Dang, you got a hot minute.
Yeah.
So Jim Harbaugh got his first win. Mike McDonald got his first win. So that coaching tree is looking.
Oh, the coaching tree is definitely looking a little bit better for the Harbaugh tree.
Real better. And Shanahan.
Yeah.
The moment he wins the Super Bowl, I mean, it's just him, and it's McDaniels. I really do. 49ers, whatever. But I really do. I hope Shanahan wins the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Because I see LaFleur and McDaniels winning a Super Bowl, and that would be one hell of a coaching tree. That would be one hell of a coaching tree. That would be fun to talk about later on.
I feel like when you see the guys that have worked under you be successful, if you're Nick Saban and you see your guys over here just for story purposes, you got your offensive coordinators, decent coordinators going into the league or getting their own college program and being able to translate what they've learned under you into their own little fucking dynasty. As the head coach, you'd be like, yeah, these are my kids. Fuck you.
So at what point do you think Bill Belichick started requiring people on their resume to sign a contract stating, I will not go work for anyone else while you're still coaching in the NFL?
His coaching tree sucks, though.
I will not.
That's not what he's saying. I think he's just saying he wanted to make sure that people knew that he was the reason that they were winning and not the coaches. So he said, you guys stay here, and I'll bring on my idiot son who picks his nose and blows bubbles out of his boogers on the sidelines.
That's a much better thought. I wish that's what I meant, but no, I didn't. I meant like his coaching tree was so bad that every single time somebody left to go be a head coach, they
came back.
They were terrible. They were terrible. Who's the best one that came out of the coaching tree? Was Vrabel actually underneath them, or was he just coached?
He was just a player, yeah. So technically,
he not? He wasn't on the coaching staff.
I don't
he was
think
a special
so.
teams coach or something.
I'm gonna look at
linebackers coach. Did you guys break down tomorrow night's football game? The Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins?
Two final touches. Then we'll jump on that game and we'll wrap her up, Patrick. The Detroit Lions in overtime, 7 of 8 plays being run down the middle, just run down your throat. That's, as a fan of a team, not the Detroit Lions, it's got to be one of the scariest things to watch.
Is
Because
that the
everyone
sad
knew-
part about Aaron Donald not being there though for the Rams?
Or is it how great the offensive line of the Detroit Lions
So you
is?
got what?
And-
Penny Sewell. You've got. I think there's
Oh,
another
yeah.
guy there. Their center is fantastic. He's from the Michigan tree too. I think they have another Michigan lineman on there too. Yeah, Ragnow. I mean, that offensive line is absolutely loaded with studs.
I mean, people, I'm not hearing enough about the Detroit Lions offensive line. When you can run the ball 7 of 8 times with no flash, just
straight
same
down the
gap,
gut.
same
Yep.
hole, same run.
And
then
he's
what?
just dragging them for
think the
5 to
first-
6 yards of play. Come on.
I think the pass play was for like 2 or 3 yards. It was
Yeah.
literally just
David Montgomery
took
just
the ball.
smacking it.
that is a sign of a well-built football team.
Oh, that's
my
a championship caliber team. Yeah.
Yeah. My only fear for the Detroit Lions, honestly, 100%, and I'm going to say this till the end of his career, is Ryan Tannehill Jr. That's my only upset for the Detroit Lions, because they were playing anybody other than the Rams. The Rams are a good football team, but let's say they're playing.
What did he sign for an extension anyway?
I think it was a
Ryan Tannehill,
4-year
right?
deal.
224.
That's
221
terrible
million.
because you've got Hendon Hooker, who they drafted thinking he's going to be the next thing. He's going to sit longer than Jordan Love will.
Let me ask you
They
this
all end up-
question. Let me ask
Yeah.
you this. So I don't want this to happen, but because you know where I'm going. You know where I'm going.
Yeah.
Kinda.
What
kinda.
happens if Jared
Let-
Goff
let's-
wins
let's-
the Super Bowl?
Let's say he wins the Super Bowl and he
Ryan
actually
Tannehill Jr.
and he plays his ass off the whole playoff. You know what I'm saying?
We get a Nick Foles.
But I'm not talking about just the Super Bowl. I'm talking about he has an outstanding year, right?
And that-
Statistically,
yeah.
and then he plays his ass off. Basically, we'll just say he has a Joe Flacco.
Yeah, or Nick Foles, honestly.
Nick
Yeah,
Foles
I-
only
I-
played part of the season.
Yeah,
I
well,
wanna
you
say-
give-
what you're saying.
you
Yeah,
I
give
would
him
say
his-
Joe. How
you
much
give him his
credit
props.
do you give him? And
Well, I
how
give him all the credit in the world, but that doesn't change what his career has been up
Right.
until that
Well,
point.
but
that's
how
what I'm
much
saying.
does that change the narrative for him? Or does he
might
need to
put him
prove it
in.
more than once? For you to
He's-
take him out of this box of you're still mediocre to me.
For Charles, he needs to see it being repeated.
I was going to say, for me, there needs to be a Super Bowl win and then continued success. And it doesn't include multiple Super Bowls, but it has to include.
He has to stay at a level of excellence.
Your team not being there because of you has to no longer be in that scenario. Because
Technically,
again,
he was in a Super Bowl.
and he lost because of it. And then the very next, we've had that discussion before. But to me, it's honestly, if the Rams had Aaron Donald, the Lions lose that game because
He's closing that
of-
gap.
yeah, people are talking like, okay, the Lions won without Sam Laporta or Amon-Ra St. Brown having stats, right? The Laporta thing's going to happen more often than not. That was one of the predictions we had on this show. You're going to have a fall off. You don't
Yeah.
have back-to-back fucking Travis Kelce, Rob Gronkowski, effing Tony
Shannon
Gonzalez, Shannon Sharp. Come on now. You get generational tight ends here. But I was laughing. You said Shannon Sharp, and I started.
I know. I thought about a straight. I thought about the same thing. Either way, focus.
I'm lost. Where were we there?
What? Okay, so let's say
Yeah.
he doesn't win a
Anyway.
Super Bowl in the next 4 years.
Yeah,
in his
Jared
contract,
Goff.
right?
Yeah.
Let's say he doesn't. However, he makes it to an NFC Championship, pulls like a Donovan McNabb, and makes it to NFC Championship. Still can't get to the Super Bowl, but he's been to a Super Bowl. But in this aspect, his next 4 years, he makes it, even to include last year. So 5 years straight of NFC Championship games.
You got to start pulling Dan Marino stats here. Otherwise, you're just second fiddle to Dan Marino, right? I got to start seeing Dan Marino stats. I'm sorry.
I get it.
And it's not that he's playing for the Lions. That has nothing to do with it. This is just a statistical career analysis. And him winning a Super Bowl is awesome, but so did Joe Flacco. And so did Rex Grossman. And you know what I mean? It's like there are
He
quarterbacks
does
that
look like
are-
Ryan Tannehill, the cartoon version of him.
You guys are a bunch of dicks.
Russell Wilson won a Super Bowl. Listen to us talk about Russell
Well,
Wilson.
his defense won him that Super Bowl.
Okay, yeah, and the Lions.
The Lions, arguably, it's going to be their defense going to win them the Super Bowl as well.
Well,
I mean,
I'm like, majority of the good teams, you could try to say there's one or two teams where you can tell that the offense or the defense can win the Super Bowl. But like teams like the Lions, hell, our team, if we were to make it, the way that we look, defense is gonna win championships in most teams' cases in this scenario because there's not a lot of quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen in that aspect.
You touch on those.
Here's if Green Bay makes it to the Super Bowl and wins it, who's the Super Bowl MVP?
It depends.
But no, just take a guess. Right.
I'm like 9 times out of 10, it's probably gonna be Jordan Love. It would be for him to lose. 9
times out of 10.
It would be his. It would be him for him to lose.
Okay, who can we say that for now on the Lions?
I'm like, you got a handful of guys that could do it.
Probably Jamir Gibbs or Montgomery.
But you could do Montgomery, Gibbs, maybe Amon-Ra St. Brown on offense. But even Aiden Hutchinson on the defensive side could win it.
Aiden Hutchinson or Alonzo.
So that's a different scenario because there's a lot of accountable players that can make a huge impact on that game.
All Jared Goff has to do is not lose the game, and that's what I think he does the worst in his career. It's not about stats. It's not about. It's about not losing the game.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
Yeah.
So who pissed the game away for him last year, though? Wasn't it the defense that lost him the game?
Well, coaching.
I think coaching decision had played a big factor because I'm like, you had San Francisco.
Oh, they had him on the road.
Right, all the way, and then second half it just changed.
You had Jared Goff playing
and in the second half it just flipped. I'm like, what happened? Like you had a game plan to beat them. You were beating them, and all of a sudden it just y'all flipped the script for what?
Wow, it was almost like the talent shifted. With the talent was a little bit discrepancy. There was on the Niners side.
But I think there was a lot of coaching decisions on Dan Campbell's side that showed like his lack of experience in that type of level of game.
Fourth down, go for it regardless.
And so my thing is, I get going in for fourth and goal sometimes, fourth down. But I'm like, if it's closer than you would like it to be, and I'm not just gonna miss on 3 points just because you want to put 6 on the board. Like,
so now Dan Campbell understands that situation, but now you have to hope Jared Goff plays the same way. Now there's the silver lining, I would think, right there, because Jared Goff did play well last year. He did, and I can, if I wanted to, I could go and pick out shit, but I could do that for everyone. Bottom line, Jared Goff played well last year.
Right.
If he does that the same this year, and the head coach learned from his mistakes made in the previous seasons, not season, but seasons, yes, absolutely. But I don't put a whole bunch of eggs in that because the writing on the wall states that your anomaly was last year. And I think Campbell at the presser last year, I think he felt that. Now, coming into this season, completely different. I love the energy. I really do the Detroit Lions to go far.
I think what helps them this year more so was the fact that Ben Johnson didn't leave.
Oh, for sure. Because he's leaving eventually.
At least having him for this year will help the ability to possibly get over that hump. If they're, like you said, Charles, if they're able to learn off those playoff mistakes that they made last year against San Francisco and learn off those mistakes and still having Ben Johnson and call those offensive plays, I think that helps Dan Campbell's confidence. And like, at least, like, I agree with you. That press conference, Dan Campbell looked like shit. There goes the shoe.
My quarterback just played the best he was going to play probably of his life.
And
so I took it away from my team. Yeah.
I think Sunday night's game showed that Jared Goff doesn't want to get tossed to the side. Like, he still wants to be considered one of the top quarterbacks in the league. It's just one game. You played against the Rams. Clearly Stafford played like, I may be 36, but keep up, young buck. But that offensive line was just able to do damage to that defensive line for LA because, again, clearly missing Aaron Darnold is playing a gigantic factor on that defensive line because they just ran them from the 30-yard line on the other side of the field and ran it down your throat for 70 yards.
Yeah, because realistically, the Rams won the game, right? This is time of possession, 34 minutes, 29 minutes. The Rams. First downs, 26-21 Rams. Total yards, 387, 363 Rams. Passing yards, 304, 200 Rams. This is where they lost. Rushing yards, 83, 163.
Capitalized.
Penalties, 6-6. Total return yards, 20-18 Rams. Total plays, 74-61 Rams.
Speaking
yards
of which,
per play, 5.2 to 6 Lions. Turnovers, 1-1. The Rams won that game.
Yeah.
They just lost.
So I want to say I told you guys, but I told you there's not going to be a kickoff return for a touchdown this year.
Yeah, there was. There already was.
No, there was.
That was a punt return.
That was
a kickoff return.
Who?
The Arizona Cardinals versus the Buffalo Bills.
Pull it up.
Wasn't that a fumble return?
No.
But anyway, it is down the lowest it's ever been kickoff return
true.
Average. So it's dumb. It's dumb. It's player safety, but it's dumb. They need to just get rid of freaking kickoffs.
Yeah. Cardinals, DJ Dallas gets first new touchdown return under NFL's new kickoff rules. Yeah.
I guess.
Videos all over YouTube.
I believe
Cardinals
you, Charles.
get historic kick return versus Bills, CBS Sports.
Historic? It's historic.
Yeah, because it's probably going to be the only one.
It's probably going to be the only one, yeah.
Well, it's not changing. The only thing that's changing.
No,
here's the thing. There was something that we didn't realize. If you kick the ball and hit it in the landing zone and then it goes out of the end zone,
yeah,
it's a penalty.
That's a 20-yard touchback. That's the 20-yard touchback, not the 35.
Yeah,
so the kickers just need to stop being fucking terrible.
They need to get better. They need to get better with their role. Yeah.
Yeah, the kickers need to stop being terrible. Oh, I can't just kick it through the end zone anymore. You're terrible.
Shout out to the Bears kicker because didn't he flicker one right off a dude's chin?
Yeah. That was the Bears returner.
Oh, the other way.
Yeah,
my bad.
Oh, I'm so tired of Alice Jones.
I didn't mean to bring it up like that. I mean,
when I tell you the utter irritation that man, this is the thing that irritates me. He's been on the team for 4 years now. I don't know how many.
And they still won the game.
They tried him in the offseason as a running back. Listen, nobody wants him. Well, I would have rather the rookie Ian Wheeler than this guy. This man can't hold on to a punt or a kickoff to save his life.
Oh, he kicked that fucker.
What is happening?
I've never seen that before.
Listen, when I saw that live on TV, I'm like, please let this be the reason he gets cut. Listen, I don't wish anybody to lose their job, but sir, you need to go work somewhere else because it ain't it. This ain't it. There's no way this man is still on the roster.
All right, so we got and this show we did not talk about Caleb Williams, and there's a reason for that. You have to pass for at least 100 yards before we talk about you on this show. All right, so
I don't even want to talk about him.
We need 7 more from you next game, and we'll talk about you.
And I don't even think he's going to get that.
Coming up on Thursday, we have.
I think it's Buffalo and Miami.
Yeah, Buffalo.
Miami, absolutely, Patrick. How do you feel about this one?
I am all in on Buffalo this year. Allen is literally this whole team is on his back. If he didn't show you that from last week, that he's literally gonna have to take this team and carry it down the fucking field.
Can he just slide, please? For the love of God, just slide.
He said it himself. Like, yeah, he's my starting quarterback. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? He lands on his wrist. He looks at his wrist, and then he just continues to play. And then at the end of the game, I think I tweaked my wrist. Good thing it's your left wrist.
Charles said, Baltimore is allergic to running back, and I feel like quarterbacks are allergic to sliding.
Well, Allen is just so friggin' big. I think he's.
I don't care.
I know, but this is the Ben Roethlisberger effect in taking place. He doesn't think he's going to get hurt because he thinks he's as big as a linebacker.
Do we think he's going to get hurt because the game has gotten so soft that people don't get hit? We don't see people get hit like
I think
Allen
he just
enough?
takes risks and everybody sees it.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
Because
You
my
cringe.
my sister's wife, she's a huge Josh Allen fan, and I asked her the other day, I was like, "So, how is it that you don't have a heart attack every Sunday when you watch this man play and puts his life? Listen, it's already bad enough. You're playing a full contact sport, already bad for your body, but you're literally the most important piece of your offense, and you are literally trying to put your head down like you're a fucking running back to accomplish what? To
Yeah,
get a concussion?
To get a couple extra yards, you should have thrown the ball.
Like,
If you wanted 20,
I get you're one of the most athletic people in that position. I'm not debating that. But my guy, and this goes to every mobile quarterback in the league. For the love of God, slide.
Yeah.
I promise you it'll add 5 years to your career.
Insane for the membrane.
But I
So what's
think
the matchup
Buffalo.
works?
I think Buffalo's going to smack the mess out of Miami. I feel like.
Okay,
I don't think it's
Matt,
gonna.
is that Buffalo.
I got
You got
Buffalo.
Buffalo.
I gotta say 31-20.
I say
And
35,
they're
28.
in Miami?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Miami. Okay, so I got Miami winning this one.
All right.
I got Miami winning this one by a field goal.
I think it'll be close. I think it's definitely going to be close because again, Josh doesn't have the massive weapons
That defense is just, it is what it is too.
But-
It's been abused and it's been beaten down and pieces have been traded away. It is what it is.
But I think somehow Josh Allen pulls off a win. It's probably going to be closer than I think it's going to be within a field goal or a touchdown win type feel.
Yeah, I look at it like Kyler Murray put up 20 plus points.
And he almost beat them.
And and I'm thinking Tyreek and Jalen Waddle and Devon Achane.
Tua definitely has more weapons than, but you still got Achane. Tua has definitely more weapons than Curry does. Murray.
And Miami's defense, while it's ran by Barry,
It's
playmakers.
yeah.
You hate that guy.
They didn't even score an offensive touchdown last week. It's crazy to think that they're going to be good this year. But they did have 350 passing yards, which is crazy. And they had no touchdowns, offensive touchdowns, none. Miami didn't score an offensive touchdown last week.
Yes, they did. What?
Yeah, Tyreek Hill had an 80-yard touchdown.
An 80-yard touchdown. It's like the longest of his career.
Oh,
yes, he did.
Oh, they said they didn't score a touchdown last week.
He definitely had a beautiful dot at that.
Yes.
I think wasn't he double cover? He had double coverage on him too, didn't he? Or was it 3? I think it was like 2-3 people on Tyreek, and it just beep, and then just took off.
All right, well, they scored 1 touchdown last week.
It was 1 long touchdown. I'm pretty sure it was 80 yards, and I'm pretty sure he had triple coverage on him, which I don't understand how he made that pass.
The Dolphins scored 2 touchdowns. They scored 1 in the second and 1 in the third quarter. I'm looking at the box score.
I know we didn't score an offensive touchdown.
No. Let me see here. Who did it for the Dolphins? Who got the touchdown? Devon Achane got a touchdown. And Tyreek Hill got a touchdown.
It could have been worse.
Yeah.
It could have been a whole lot worse. It could have
They're
been
going to
us.
have to kick a field goal with 52 at the end of the game to win, 52-yarder. They were on the
kicked
verge
2 field
of
goals
losing.
in the fourth quarter. Yeah, they didn't. Yeah, I
They kicked it as time expired. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, I can see arguments on both sides. I can see arguments on Josh Allen. I said this before the season. There was questions that I didn't think needed to be questioned. I figured Josh Allen was going to have the ability to do what Jordan Love does.
Yeah.
When you don't have that number 1 wide receiver and you don't have to throw the ball to one section of the football field 60% of the time, you tend to open up way more windows, and it makes it a lot harder on defenses. Now, it'll be interesting to see how it works out in Texas, or for the Houston Texans, because the Houston Texans have more weapons people are legitimately worried about than Buffalo has ever had. When you were in Buffalo, you more or less worried about Stephon Diggs.
And maybe Gabe Davis sometimes.
Maybe, yeah. Now you've got the Swiss Army knife doing Swiss Army knife things in Buffalo. That's going to be magical. I'm super excited you picked him up on your fantasy team.
I just don't get why they got rid of everybody. Like they had to clean house. They just got rid of everybody.
And it's not like they had to pay Josh Allen because he was already on his Supermax contract.
Well,
so.
it was the defense. They had so many guys that we're gonna get paid. They had to basically say, hey, we can't afford to pay you right now.
And Von Miller's robbing them, so
yeah, that's true. He robbed quite a few teams already.
Man, oh man.
It's almost like that list that you brought up, Paul, with the basketball players that didn't win a championship. Oh man. We'll make our own list next week.
Yeah.
So looking at the matchups next week, there's not a lot I'm excited to see. Giants at Commanders. That's basically what South Park calls a cripple fight. That'll be fun to watch.
Not a cripple fight.
I
think Washington's gonna.
Washington's a hell of a lot better offense. I mean, we could. Jaden Daniels is a dog with his legs. I think he had 100 yards rushing.
Keep working them ankles.
Yeah, that offensive line is terrible. For him to have 100 yards rushing in that offensive line, it's pretty damn good.
When you're running east to west to get a little north-south.
He was running north-south. He was
running. The Jets pull off a W?
They were draws, so.
Yeah.
You think the Jets pull off a W against Tennessee?
Yes. Tennessee's what the fuck are you? What the fuck?
I wanted that reaction. I wanted that reaction.
They just lost to a team that managed 93 offensive yards from their quarterback and 2 fucking points on offense. Of course.
So here's my next two.
Will Levis though.
I got two matchups that I want to ask y'all. Now let's Pittsburgh and Denver.
Mm-hmm.
Who comes out on top?
Pittsburgh's defense. I could see this being a 22-2 split again or a 22-3 split.
Denver doesn't. I don't think Bo Nix is going to do 200
defense. Yeah, I mean Bo Nix is going to throw interceptions. He's going to be looking J.J. Watt in the eyes every snap. It's going to happen. That Bo Nix is literally playing out Peyton Manning's rookie year right now. It's hilarious.
All right.
To watch.
Next game that I have a question on.
Yeah.
How bad does Cleveland lose to Jacksonville?
Ooh,
Who chokes more, Trevor Lawrence or Deshaun Watson?
That's going to be a 13-10 football game, so it's not going to be a blowout.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying
both those teams are terrible.
Whose quarterback shows up more is the question.
Jacksonville. He's way more consistent than freaking Deshaun Watson. I don't have any. If I'm a freaking Cleveland fan, I've got no faith in Deshaun Watson.
I am upset, 0. And I'm pulling out the brown bags all over again.
You heard it. You heard it earlier. I dropped him. I don't even have him as a backup. He's
remember we said
the rest of the season for 12 points a game.
He is hot garbage. He is getting paid $40 million to suck.
And the sad thing is, he's getting paid regardless because it's all that guaranteed money. You can't even bring him in the locker room and be like, hey, man, you're playing like shit. He's just going to be like, bench me. I'm going to get paid either way.
My check is still going to clear.
What's that, Charles?
They put you on Sunday Night Football?
Yeah. It's bad.
That's fucked up.
Yeah. But on the good side of that,
Charles, come on. It's not fucked up. I said
we knew what they were doing. We knew what they were doing.
Paul, honestly, I think Charles will agree with me in this. I never had any questions about the Bears defense going into the season.
Never.
I didn't have a question. I knew they were a top 10 defense going into the season.
I had no doubt about my defense.
Unfortunately, what we saw is that defense is going to have takeaways, and the Bears always do get takeaways and get special teams.
But it's got to be consistent. It's got to be consistent. It's got to be stopped.
When's the last time an NFL team's defense scored 20 points a game for an entire season?
The defense? No,
I can't tell you that.
I do think
Pittsburgh to say that it's never happened because
I think Pittsburgh's. I think it was either the Pittsburgh defense. One of those defenses, though, did average like 10 a game.
Yeah,
I'm gonna look that up. I'm gonna look that up.
But even if the defense scored 10 a game and the offense averaged its pace of 2,
offensively
12 points a game.
Offensively, this is probably their toughest test on their entire schedule. The Texans.
In the first part.
I mean, the Texans had a top 5 offense last year.
they have to play the Green Bay Packers twice in 1 year, and Jordan Love was in most statistical categories the number one quarterback. The offense was legit.
Yeah, I don't
Texas
think
offense.
they were projected to be. He was projected to throw for 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns. I don't think that's going to happen.
35 and 25. It's 35 and 25, I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'm just saying he was projected to throw for that. I don't think that's going to happen anymore.
No.
He threw for 234 last week, and he's going up against a better defense. I think this is going to be we'll throw it out there. I think it's going to be
defenses you need to check, Paul. It's the Ravens.
I'm like the only one that that's the only team that I can think of. 2000 Ravens defense.
This is a 24-10 football game for me.
Yeah, 24-10.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Honestly,
the only
you heard me just say fucking blah 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 Texas offense. I can see it being 30 plus. And
generous. I mean, they laid on the Mixon big time.
I can't see much change from week 1 to week 2. The defense he played in week 1 is significantly less compared to the defense he's about to play in week 2 on every fucking facet, right?
The only silver lining
might be a bottom 5 defense this year.
The only silver lining for Sunday night for me, outside of getting to be humiliated probably in front of the whole world, we'll see, is my wife that I love so much. Not only is she going to rock a Bears jersey for me as a Saints fan, but secondly, she's going to cook me some finger food so I can eat alone and watch this game in misery.
Misery.
She knows you. She knows you very well.
She said, "Hey, if you want me to watch the game with you, I will." She goes, "Okay, just sit on the other side of the couch, okay? Because I don't want to accidentally smack the shit out of you."
It gets loud and dangerous over here.
Listen, just tell her the aliens were coming to abduct her, and you weren't letting her go. All right, just tell her that.
So I'm like, okay, on the real, I'm already expecting it to be a loss. I know a lot of Bears fans are going to say, well, "You're stupid, PR. Why would you bet on your team to lose?" Listen, you fucktards. It's called realistically. It's called being realistic. Yes, our defense is good. However, the Titans only had Ridley and D-Hop, he was invisible. Ridley was barely there. I'm like, Boyd didn't do anything. The only offensive threat was Tony Pollard. I'm like, that's not the case for Houston. They got Mixon. They got Dale. They got Collins. They got Stephon Diggs. They got Schultz. Like, and then C.J. Stroud and himself. Like, they're an offensive juggernaut right now, and they're all young as shit.
The over-under is 46.5, and your offense just managed 2 points against the Titans. So that's telling me that Texans are going to score 30 plus.
If he plays the way that he played against Tennessee, there's no way they were coming out of Houston with a W.
Is it possible to see something different in
I don't
6
know.
days?
But then again, this is the thing. It's rough to say that. It's rough to say that because, one, in your debut at a 12 o'clock slot, a noon slot, that's what you performed at. You're about to play in prime time in front of millions of people.
He said he doesn't get nervous. So
Charles,
week 1 couldn't be nerves.
Do you ever figure out what game you want to go to?
I'm waiting on John to get us what games he's able to go to.
I could reach out to John to figure out what game he wants to go to. It'd be funny if it was a Bears game.
Yeah, I was to say I'm down for literally whatever.
Y'all just like to piss me off.
No, that's not the reason. Charles and I are very well versed in. We will leave early.
If we go to a Bears game, I'll bring a sign with Caleb Williams' current yards.
Let's try to make this happen next year. So let's do this.
I'll be the body. I'll be the muscle. I'll be the body.
So let's do this. All right. So next year already, me and my wife, our plan is to go to the season opener for Chicago, the first home game in Chicago. That's ours, right? So let's do this. Next season, depending who has the better when we first play, let's try to shoot for whoever has the better home record or the better record by the. We'll say, depending on when the first game is, if y'all by our first game together, if the Bears have a better record, we shoot for that game together. If you guys have the better record, we'll shoot for the Green Bay game against Chicago.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
for next year, we're going to a game together, either in Chicago or in Green
We'll
Bay.
figure it out.
You do realize that I look exactly like the type of person who gets shot in Chicago.
I don't give a hell because nobody's going to shoot my buddies.
Okay. As long as we're
Listen, if you get shot, I get shot.
We all get shot.
Charles looks like the Uber driver. We're going down.
But yeah, I would kill to go to a. Now this
Most
is the
of
thing.
those scenarios aren't asked questions first.
I've never been to Soldier Field.
I've never been to Soldier Field. I've never been to Lambeau.
Oh,
So either way, it would be a first
treat for you.
I haven't been to a game at Soldier Field, but I parked at Soldier Field for a day while I was going.
I just want to go there before they change it or whatever, make it into a dome, which is stupid.
Yeah, it's soft. It's soft. Okay, so my marquee matchup for week 2 is definitely. I don't want to get ahead of myself here, but I would have to say that it's the Buccaneers-Lions game. My reasoning for this is
rematch last season,
and it was a pretty damn good game. And I like how Baker Mayfield's playing, so I think it'll be very interesting. I think it's going to be a good test for the Lions early.
Especially that defense.
Or on the opposite side, I think it'll be a great test for Tampa Bay early. I think it'll be a good test for the Lions early, but it's going to be a great test for Tampa Bay early.
Because this is the thing. Even with the defense of the Lions, as good as they were, you still allowed Cooper Kupp to do whatever the fuck he wanted on you.
You heard. I broke down the entire. They lost the entire game minus the score somehow or another.
And so Mike Evans is not any worse than Cooper Kupp is.
Possession yards.
So it's like
Mike Evans is a dog.
That's what I'm saying. So if you're allowing Cooper Kupp to do whatever he wants, what do you think Mike Evans is going to do on this?
Mike Evans is Mr. Consistency. That's
1,000 yards his whole career.
Just been Mr. Consistent.
He's not every effing quarterback. Everyone.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who he's got. He's just hey, throw it over here, I'll catch it.
He's a solid He's a solid Hall of Famer.
Oh yeah.
Baker Mayfield is going to buy Mike Evans a Christmas present for the rest of his life.
Because he resurrected his career alone.
He's part of the reason Baker Mayfield's career is resurrectable. Yeah. When you've got a guy that gets 1,000 yards with what was it? A peanut butter butt kiss, I think was one of the quarterbacks.
Oh my God!
Josh Freeman,
McCown,
everybody under the sun.
I think he had 3 different quarterbacks start for him one season. He still got his 1,000 yards.
Still got 1,000 yards.
Since he's got drafted,
now he's got a guy who can actually get him a positional ball.
Sling him the ball because saw them over it was a clip from when they played. Who did they play? The Chargers? No, they played the Commanders this last week. He was like, "Listen, I can't believe I got a cheat code in Mike Evans. I literally just have to throw it to him, and he's gonna catch it."
Yeah. I gotta get it close and keep it away from the defense.
Like he says,
it's the only 2 things I have to do.
And I have a cheat code. Like I literally have a cheat code on my team, and I'm like,
and I love that he stayed with Tampa Bay. I love Mike Evans. He's such a good dude, Hall of Famer for sure. That weird thing last year where we'll have to do that though. We'll have to do that again this year. I'll have to bring up some. Are they Hall of Famer?
People really questioned if he should be in the Hall of Fame. I'm like,
way too many people were.
I'm like, how are you questioning
this?
How
wild is it that it caught fire after our episode?
Like, what is it that you have to think about?
That was so funny. So,
maybe
Patrick,
another receiver.
Did we get a marquee matchup from you?
Oh yeah, but I told you there.
I just wanted to double check. It's on the episode. I thought you did. I didn't want to leave you behind, man. You know what I'm saying?
This whole lineup is just shitty.
Yeah, it is a pretty terrible lineup. The Falcons-Eagles might be good. The Chiefs-Bengals could be decent. Bears-Texans, that's going to be hilarious.
You guys playing the Colts should be interesting. I'm not going to lie.
I want to see the Jets-Titans. I seriously want to see if Aaron Rodgers still does have it, or if Tennessee, they should blow them out of the water. They should blow Tennessee away with that defense they have. But I think the whole Hassan Reddick thing is really getting to the Jets defense too.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, that's a major piece that you don't get to use it. You traded for it.
I think there's drama in the locker room. Yeah.
They've got the 25th ranked rush defense right now. Week 1, I get it, but when you start that low, you don't climb that high.
Right.
Listen,
takes a minute.
I don't.
even Kansas City is doing okay, and they just got done with the Ravens. And the Lamar Jackson thing, right? Like they had an extended break. They started the super early Thursday, and then he doesn't play until what, Sunday?
Yeah.
Yeah, they play noon on Sundays. They had no reason to practice yesterday.
That's
I
just
believe he
crazy,
was at
though,
practice.
that he had 395 yards of offense by himself.
Fantasy dream, as long as he
And
stops throwing to the other team.
Yeah.
I Dr. Seuss that shit.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about this. So we are doing these Tuesdays, or do we want to do them Mondays?
Oh, we can do Tuesday.
Let's
I
do
just got
Tuesdays.
this internet shit just had to get fixed. That's all.
Yeah, it has to get itself figured out. Yeah, no,
I'm good for Tuesdays.
Tuesdays. All right. 2 for Tuesdays. I liked how we did this in parts also. Not so much the day thing, but fuck that internet. We're back on track now. That's exciting. Is there anything else you guys wanted to touch up on? It's the September 11th facts. So we're just going to keep it with.
Keep it
the,
September 11th facts.
Yeah. 4 hours to read all the names that passed away on that day in America. So
What a bad
sombering
day.
day. That is how you use that one. Sombering. Yeah. Earlier I got that way.
Got a little weird. Got a little weird.
Real weird. So thank you for everything that everyone does on your just daily everything. Honestly, we tend to take the little things in life for granted often. And we're so hyper focused on doing the right thing that we miss all the good we've accomplished as time goes on. The many smiles you've created, the laughter, the small moments that you've either forgotten or didn't think much about meant the world to somebody else in those rooms. This is one of the reasons why on this show we tell you, and we like to remind you, that the world is a better place with you in it, because it is, for those reasons. The smallest of reasons compound into the greatest victories. And we here at this show appreciate you for that. We know every day is a struggle, and we appreciate every day that you're still here. From all of us here, we love you more.